Hey y'all, today we are making 3 flavored rice mixes. Okay, so first up we're doing yellow rice. Now several of y'all requested this one, so I am making it for y'all, but I also wanted to give y'all a couple of other recipes just so that you would have, some variety in your life. All of these are fantastic. I do cook them in the video as usual, and then you will see the finished product at the end of the video, okay? And as usual, since I learned how, the printable links for each recipe will be down in the description box to make it easy for y'all. So I measured out 3 cups of rice into my jar. Yes, I could have used the measurements on my jar, but I don't know why I didn't. I didn't. So 3 cups of rice to your jar or whatever container you're using. And then we're going to mix our seasonings up in a little bowl, okay? Now I am adding in here 1 tablespoon of garlic powder. Then we're going to add in 1 tablespoon of onion powder. Then you are going to add in here what's going to make our rice yellow, some turmeric. We've had this discussion. Anyway, y'all see what it is. That's what we're adding in here. So you're going to add a tablespoon of that into your bowl. Then we're going to add in a tablespoon of salt. Now, if you are watching your salt or whatever the case is, you can absolutely adjust that to your taste, okay? Then I'm going to add in a tablespoon of black pepper. And that is the seasonings that we're going to use for this rice mix. You're going to mix that up really, really well, and then we're going to put it into a little plastic baggie, and then we'll put that right on top of our rice. Now, the reason that I do this separately, because somebody did ask me this on my rice-a-roni video, the reason that I don't put the seasoning in with the rice, well, for one reason, I cook them separately. I cook the seasoning before I cook the rice, or the rice before I put the seasoning in. Anyway, and the jar makes a whole bunch of different servings, okay? So we're not going to cook this entire jar of rice at one time. And I don't think I said it, that is regular long grain white rice. It is not instant rice, okay? But that's why I use the baggie. I use the baggie and then I just measure out for each individual serving how much I need, okay? Hopefully that makes sense. So once you get that done, like I said, you put that right down in your jar, seal your jar up. It's good to go in the cabinet for whenever you want some yellow rice. So now I'm going to cook it for y'all. So what you're going to do, take your little baggie out. That's our little baggie of the seasonings we just made. To your pot for this rice. All 3 of these rices I'm going to cook a little bit differently. You can do them however you want to. I melted about a tablespoon of butter, and then I rinsed my rice really well, and then I added that to my pot. I'm going to let that cook for a minute or 2 just to kind of, let that rice get good in that butter, okay? Then you're going to add your seasonings. For this one, you're going to add 2 teaspoons of your seasoning mix right to your rice. Stir it up really, really well. Make sure all that good seasoning gets mixed in with that butter and rice. And then you're going to add to this 1 cup of chicken broth. We're going to bring it to a boil, and then we're going to reduce it to a simmer. Put the lid on it, and we're going to let it simmer. Do not take the lid off for 15 minutes, okay? Once your 15 minutes are up, you're going to remove it from the heat, and you're just going to let it sit covered for another 15 minutes, and that's it, okay? That's all you have to do for all of these rice recipes. That's how I cook my regular rice, even if I don't have any kind of flavoring in it, okay? Look, I was getting really good whiffs of that. It smells so good, y'all. All right, so next up, we're going to make onion rice, and I'm going to show y'all the finished product at the end of the video. So for this onion rice, you're going to do the same thing we did with the other rice. You're going to add your 3 cups of regular long grain white rice. Now you can use brown rice if you want to, but you're going to need to adjust the amount of liquid you use and the cook time, because it is different for brown rice. So if you use something besides long grain white rice, you need to investigate how much what you need to alter, okay? Because I don't know for every kind of rice how long you need to cook stuff. So if you're going to make a swap like that, then just look up how much, liquid you need and how long you need to cook it. So we're going to add to this. This is my homemade onion soup mix. If y'all have not seen that video, I will link it for y'all. I made several different seasoning blends, but this is the onion soup mix, and it is so good, y'all. So I'm adding to my bowl about 4 tablespoons of this onion soup mix. And then we're going to add in a teaspoon of parsley, and then I'm going to add in a teaspoon of onion powder and a teaspoon of garlic powder. I don't add tons of seasoning to this because I know what's already in my onion soup mix because I made it. So that's what I'm adding. But if you don't have homemade or you don't want to do homemade, you can use a packet of onion soup mix if you want to. I think it's 3 tablespoons that are in a packet, but it'll be fine if you need to do it that way. So once you get that mixed up, just like with the other one, we are going to dump our seasonings right into, those are like snack bags, the just great value little snack bags. I mean, you can put this in whatever. If you have little plastic cups that will fit down in there, then you can use that. Use whatever you want to. So anyway, same thing we did with the other one. You're going to put your little baggie on top of your rice, put the lid on your jar, seal it up, and then you are good to go anytime you want onion rice. And it is good, y'all. So what we're going to do is to our pot, this one is going to be like the easiest. We're not going to do anything to this one. We are going to add in, there's our seasoning mix. Look, I'm trying to get it in the camera. See, I had to make sure because I had so many different seasonings. I had to make sure I had the right one. So to your pot, you're going to add in 1 cup of chicken broth. You're going to add in 1/2 cup of rinsed and drained, obviously, white rice. Mix that up. Then you're going to add to that, how much of your seasoning? 2.5 teaspoons of that seasoning mix that you made up. 2.5 teaspoons, okay? And did I tell y'all, I don't know what I was thinking something just came into my head and I forgot it that easy. I don't know. If it was important, I'll think of it. I'll think of it in a minute. Anyway, mix that up really good. And then you're going to do the same thing that we did with the other rice. You're going to let this come to a boil. And then once it starts to boil, you're going to turn it down to a simmer. And then you're going to let it simmer covered for 15 minutes. Do not take the lid off. After 15 minutes, you're going to remove it from the heat. And then you are going to just let it sit for another 15 minutes. You can let it sit longer, but it needs to sit for at least 15 minutes after you take it off the heat, okay? Next up, we're going to do butter herb rice. Again, y'all, these are so good. I can't wait till y'all try these and see what y'all think. So, anyway, we're going to do the same thing. 3 cups of rice into your jar. I know what I was going to tell y'all. If you want to adjust, maybe I told y'all this at the beginning, I don't remember. If you want to adjust how much of this you're making, just adjust the amount of, like if you wanted to do 1 cup of rice instead of the 1/2 cup that I'm doing, then just double your liquid, double your seasonings. You know what I mean? Just adjust it to however much rice you're cooking. I'm just doing a 1/2 cup in this video because I cooked all of these in the same day and I didn't need that much rice, So for the seasonings for this one, we're going to add 2 tablespoons of chicken bouillon. You can use whatever brand bouillon you like, whatever. I do have a video on homemade bouillon too, so it's there if y'all need it. So 2 tablespoons of that. Then we're going to add in 2 teaspoons of, I almost said tablespoons, 2 teaspoons of parsley. Then we're going to add in 1 teaspoon of basil. These might sound like weird ingredients together, but trust me, the flavor is fantastic, okay? So 1 teaspoon of basil. Then you're going to add 2 teaspoons of minced onion flakes, just the little dried minced onions. Then we're going to add in 2 teaspoons of garlic powder and 2 teaspoons of lemon pepper, okay? I know, basil, lemon pepper, parsley, I know, trust me, it's delicious, but keep this in mind. If you're making an herb rice and you cannot stand basil, don't put basil in it. Put something else in it. You can adjust these to anything you want. I'm just sharing with you what I did with mine. Okay, so if you don't have an aversion to any of the seasonings that I've used, try it my way, and then if you need to adjust it, you can. Now, I left this in here because I wanted y'all to see this is how I figure out how much seasoning to put in each serving, okay? So once I get it mixed up, I take a teaspoon and I just count how many teaspoons total are in there, and then I just divide it by however much is in my jar, okay? So if I was gonna, like if I'm making half a cup at a time, then I have 3 cups in there. So I would divide however many teaspoons of seasoning I've got by 6. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense, because then that will tell you how much of that seasoning that you need to use when you make that half cup of rice or the cup of rice or however much you're making. So I measured it out for y'all. So if you make it exactly like I did, I've already got the measurements done for you. But if you're making something on your own, that is the easiest way that I have found to do that, okay? Because I don't measure a whole lot. So when it comes to something like this and I'm going to need to split it up, I do need to measure it just to see how much I need to use when I get ready to cook it. So we mix that up really good, and we're going to do the same thing. Put it in our bag, and then we're going to stick it in the top of our jar, and we're going to seal it up. Now, if you want to make individual servings, you could mix the seasonings with your rice if you want to. But since we're doing a whole bunch of servings in one jar, this is the easiest way to do it, okay? All right, so to make this one, what you're going to do is take, there's your seasoning mix right there, your little seasoning blend. And I had pots of rice everywhere, smoke just boiling everywhere. So you're going to add in 1 cup of your chicken broth, okay? Then we're going to add in half of a cup of rinsed and drained white rice, just like with the other two. Then you're going to, did I say half a cup? Half a cup. Then you're going to add in 1 tablespoon of that seasoning mix that you just made, okay? We're going to mix this up really good. Make sure all your little seasonings are good and mixed in. And then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to bring this up to a boil. Once it starts to boil, drop it down to a simmer. I forgot to turn that burner off. Y'all see it lighting up over there? And don't even realize it until the video is over with. Anyway, that's me, y'all. Mix it up, bring it to a boil. Once it starts to boil, cut it down to a simmer, put the lid on it, let it simmer for 15 minutes covered. And then once the 15 minutes is up, take it off the heat, let it sit another 15 minutes, okay? So for this one, after it sits for that last 15 minutes, okay, we're gonna add in here, for this amount that I made, we're going to add about a tablespoon of butter in there, okay? So you're just going to fluff your rice up. Look how nice and fluffy that rice is. You're just going to mix that up. And what I did was I mixed it around a little bit, and then I kind of covered the butter with some rice. And then I put the lid back on it, and I just let it sit for another minute or so just to let my butter melt into that rice. Y'all, don't skip this step. It is so dang good. So anyway, here is our, which rice? That's the herbed rice. Look, I have to figure out which one's which. That's the herbed rice. That's what it looks like when it comes out, when it's all cooked. The flavor is phenomenal. I promise you, it is so good. And then don't forget about our yellow rice. That was definitely a request that a few of y'all had. It is delicious. So good. Make sure you try all 3 of these, because I don't even know which one to say, hey, make sure you try this one. You got to try all of them. They're all so good. And last but certainly not least is our onion rice. Y'all, all 3 of these rices, you can't go wrong. You cannot go wrong with any of these. And it's so easy. Instead of going out and buying all the packets with the flavors and all the extra chemicals that we don't need, you can make it right at home. It tastes better than the packaged stuff. And y'all, well, maybe one day I will. My pantry is so full of homemade stuff. I'm loving this, and I'm so glad that y'all are too. All right, that's all I've got for y'all today, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. Bye, y'all.